Washington Square Park are leading us into a new future. You realize how important this election is. You are the visionaries that realize the time is now. Now is the time for the truth. Now is the time for tolerance. Now is the time for love. Now is the time for unbridled idealism. Now is the time to believe that we can accomplish great things beyond the accepted realm of possibility. Now is the time to elect a leader that will lead us into a future of prosperity, peace, and progressive change. Now is the time to dream big. Now is the time for Bernie Sanders. I'd like to introduce a man that used to be my representative when I lived here in Greenwich Village, Tom Dwayne.
He's a floating Dutch boy.
He's so tall, isn't he? Alright, so I just want you to know when I go like this is the new universal symbol for saying huge. Alright, so let's try. 1, 2, 3, huge. So, one of the reasons I think that I'm here is because I'm gay. I'm not just a gay, I am a huge gay, right, exactly. I'm also a person who disclosed his HIV status like decades ago, and I don't know, I'm still kicking around probably so I could see Bernie get elected. And a healthcare activist, and the way I am about that is... Alright, so I can tell you all this great stuff that Bernie did. Like 1983, they were marching in Burlington, the gays, when he was mayor. He did this thing where you couldn't discriminate in housing against them. But then let's move on to the miracle. Bernie Sanders is going to Congress from Vermont. My hero is in Congress. Hello? That was... Yes! Who'd have thunk? Anyway, so along comes Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I mean, I'm not going to tell you whose policy that was put out, but Bernie Sanders, he voted against it. And so that was... And not only that, this Congress member from California, Duke Cunningham, said something about a bunch of homos in the military. And you know what Bernie did? He really just put him in his place, and you know what that was? Yes! Alright, so, domestic partnership in Vermont, very important. Remember what it was like then? No, you don't remember. Listen, but it was a big deal. It was, domestic partnership was, civil unions were, and it was all huge. And then all of a sudden marriage became huge. Who'd have thought? Just the choice, just the opportunity. Now you have to do it. Listen, by 2009, everybody statewide in New York State was for marriage equality. The governor, the lieutenant governor, the controller, even Joe Bruno was for it. I mean, everybody was for it. And Kirsten Gillibrand, but we'll get to that. And Chuck Schumer, finally. Yes, by 2009, thank you. Anyway, but that's when Bernie came out in favor of marriage equality. And you know, when he did that, to my mind, that's... Exactly! So, now she's a New Yorker, right? Well, anyway, everybody else She waited till 2013. That was not huge, not at all. And, you know, the thing about Bernie is always against everyone who's against me. Hillary, she's never against the people who are against me. You gotta talk her into it. Bernie, you know he's gonna be there, like no question. And that's right. So, and you know, she had a good record. I'm not even gonna forget it. I was gonna say Secretary of State and gay women. Like, what was she supposed to do? She's a woman representing the United States by Barack Obama. Of course she's gonna be good on human rights issues. I mean, that's part of the job. It's not so exceptional. Like, I would hope he would be that. She's not Condi Rice. Anyway, but Lisa, yeah, that's right, piano player. I mean, you just know where Bernie's going to be. And I just want to talk about this gun thing for a second. Can we talk about guns for just a moment? When Hillary was running for Senate, and I read this somewhere, it's not original, she was like Annie Oakley. She was like shooting ducks, or I used to shoot ducks, and Bill was shooting ducks. Some of them were caged ducks. I mean, they were shooting like they had gun things. And Kirsten Gillibrand, who I like, and I'd be great if she became president 8 years from now, when she ran for Congress, she said she had 2 goddamn guns under her bed. She was sleeping on top of guns. I mean, does anyone seriously think that Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders wants people with machine guns running around the inner cities? No, it's ridiculous. Shut up about that. Leave it alone. The only good thing that came out of that was the violence against women. She would have voted for the goddamn thing too. Anyway, so put it to bed. Don't talk about it. Hillary, stop. Stop. Don't do it anymore. It's red herring. You shot ducks. All right. Listen. I think she probably, like, when Goldman Sachs, they're not going to ask Bernie to speak there, right? I mean, let's face it. Uh-oh. I got to wrap up. All right, so I think I'll just say this. You know, I know about family values. I think it's an issue that's, you know what Bernie Sanders wants? He wants to raise the amount of money that people on Social Security and disability get. He wants that money to come up. She wants to give us all health care. He wants to give us all health care. And he wants us to take a vacation, and that's a vacation, yes, 10 days. Who wouldn't want that? All right, so vote for him. Because when he goes to the White House, that's going to be, yes, exactly. All right, now it's my honor to introduce and to call up here just an amazing fighter for racial justice and human rights, and just won't give up, fights all the way, a Bernie supporter just like Bernie supporters are, the human rights activist Linda Sarsour. Come on up, we love her, give her huge.
What up, New York City? That's what I'm talking about. I am so honored and humbled to be up here in the city that I was born and raised in. I am a proud New Yorker through and through, born and raised in Brooklyn like our Senator Bernie Sanders. I'm supporting Bernie Sanders because he is unbought and unsold. I'm supporting Bernie Sanders because he's not taking money from super PACs and corporations. He works for the people. this race, and it's very simple. These 5 blocks of lines for people showing up for Senator Bernie Sanders, there better be 5 blocks of lines at the polls, sisters and brothers. New York City has one of the lowest voter turnouts in the country. So all we need, sisters and brothers, is we gotta wake up on Tuesday morning, April 19th, hold our heads high, our backbone straight, and proudly vote for Senator Bernie Sanders. Sisters and brothers, you know this as New Yorkers. If you make it in New York, you make it anywhere. So let us put Senator Bernie Sanders on track to be the next president of the United States of America. Bernie, that's right. Sisters and brothers, there's only one candidate in this race that supports a federal $15 wage, and that's Senator Bernie Sanders. There's only one candidate in this race that has always had the backs of labor. That's Senator Bernie Sanders. So I want to have the privilege and honor to introduce today a union that stood up in the face of adversity. They fought for the endorsement of Bernie Sanders today. Please give it up to Vice President of TWU, Local 100, JP Pafaccio.
Are you ready for the political revolution? That's what I'm talking about. From the men and women that moved New York City, on behalf of John Samuelson, the Transport Workers Union, we are proud to say we are behind Senator Bernie Sanders. We want to take that 10-point gap and shrink it real quick. We want to send Hillary
trade deals that take away good paying jobs from people in this country. The cause is right, and the time is now. Now, New York, it's good when the family gets together. It's good when the family gets together, but I'm going to tell you something. We got to get out there and make sure that people get out there to vote, to make sure that we upset the political establishment. The cause is right, and the time is now. And I'm going to tell you how we're going to do it in New York. I'm going to tell you a story that my grandmother, who was born in 1913, used to tell me. She said, all that we need in this world to be successful are the 3 bones: the wishbone, the jawbone, and the backbone. See, the wishbone will keep us hoping and praying, because hope is the motivator, but the dream is the driver. We're not going to let people tell us that Senator Sanders is reaching too big or dreaming too high. My God, if we can send a man to the moon, we can educate our children. If we can abolish slavery, if women can get the right to vote, we can have universal health care in this country. The cause is right, and the time is now. We're going to use our jawbone to speak truth to power in the same way that Senator Bernie Sanders has been doing all of his conscious life. Sisters and brothers in New York, integrity is what you do when nobody is watching. And as a 20-something-year-old young man, he put his body on the line for civil rights and social justice in this country. And the most important bone of them all, the supercalifragilistic expialidocious bone, is the backbone, because the backbone will keep us standing through all of our trials and our tribulations. And sisters and brothers, in this life, we Chris Sheldon of the CWA. But before we do that, y'all gotta do something for me because we gotta make it warm for when the senator comes on the stage. So when I say feel, you say burn. Feel, 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 feel. Let's do this, New York.
Good evening, sisters and brothers. I'm here tonight to start off with to tell you a story about corporate greed and the poster child for corporate greed, a company named Verizon. In front of you here are a few hundred, a few thousand of my members who went on strike today, 40,000 of them. They went on strike today because the poster child for corporate greed wants everything that they've earned over the last 50 years, and we're not going to give it to them. And I'm here to tell you that story about corporate greed, because there's only one candidate running who's going to fight corporate greed, who's going to fight for the middle class, who's going to make sure that the working class keep jobs in the United States, that they're not going overseas. There's a lot of candidates running for office, brothers and sisters, who actually cause strikes. There's only one who marches on picket lines, and that's Senator Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders today marched on picket lines with my members. The last time we had a strike, Senator Bernie Sanders marched on picket lines with my members then. Senator Bernie Sanders is for the middle class. Senator Bernie Sanders is for the working class. Senator Bernie Sanders is for the people of the United States. So, brothers and sisters, are you ready for the political revolution?
To have the right to vote, but too many people have died already because of the policies of some of the people who are running. Do we reward that with the White House? Is that the message that we're telling our children and spreading around the world? That I'm sorry suddenly brings lives back and makes it okay for our vets? Is that the story we're going to be telling in 20 years when our kids look at us and go, this was an opportunity we had in front of us and we voted for the same? The status quo? I'm going to tell you something about propaganda. Bush actually talked about it to us. He gave us a little education. He said, I'm going to repeat the same thing over and over and over again so that you believe the truth. It's called the culture of propaganda, and that is what we keep hearing in the news every single day. The same couple of phrases. Framing the narrative and saying that y'all should not even bother. It's already decided.